In just 58 seconds, Nakamura, in a very dynamic position, calculated and evaluated two tempting variations and correctly rejected them in favor of a brilliant idea which he found in a very short period of time in his game against Magnus Carlsen in the Magnus Invitational Chess Tournament organized on Chess24. Hi, this is Grandmaster Swapnil Dopade from Chess Patshala. Let us check out the brilliant idea executed by Nakamura in his game against Magnus, which helped him beat the world champion. So we join the game in this position where it is white to play. It is Nakamura's move, and before going any forward, I would like the viewers to please pause the video for about 5 to 10 minutes and try to guess the brilliant idea played by Nakamura in this position. Well, I hope that the viewers came up with the correct move, but before going forward in the game with the correct move, it is better to first analyze the position a bit and try to understand what is exactly going on in this position. So there are two very tempting options for white here. One is the obvious queen g3 check, and the other one is to simply take the f6 pawn with rook into f6. But rook f6 is not that strong, as black gets in queen d1 check, rook f1, and the queen retreats to d6, covering the 6th rank, and the queen can also come to the aid of black's king with queen g6, and in fact black would also like to play f5 and try to organize a shelter for his own king, and with a queen on d6 it will be quite easy. So rook f6 is of course not a good move for white, but the real tempting option is queen g3 check. So after queen g3 check, of course knight g6 is the only move, otherwise black simply gets mated on g7. And now after knight g6, another very logical move here for white is to play h4, with the idea to play h5 and win the poor knight on g6, which simply cannot move. But even though the position looks quite bad for black, black still has a defense, and that defense is f5. So of course black intends to take on h4 with the queen and exchange the mighty queen on g3. White will of course continue with h5, and now f4, trying to move the queen away from the g file so that the knight is free to move. White of course insists on keeping the queen on g4 on the g file with queen g4, and now black has queen h4, again offering the exchange of queens. Of course queen into h4, if you exchange queens it is not good for white, as white is simply 2 pawns down in this position and black is winning in this endgame. So white has to maintain the queens at any cost. White can play queen f5, maintaining the queens and hoping to create some sort of an attack against the black king, especially on the dark squares. The best move for black now is rook b6. He can simply give away the knight on g6, because we can see that the bishop on h6 is also kind of trapped on its active position on h6 because of this pawns here. So rook b6 is a good move, and after h into g6, rook into g6. So again a very critical position of this analysis has arrived, and I would like the viewers to please pause the video for around 5 minutes and try to assess the situation after queen into e5, because after queen into e5, if black takes on e5, then there is rook a8 check, and there's a mate on the back rank. So whether queen into e5 really works for white, does it win for white? Well, queen into e5 doesn't really win for white, because black has a beautiful defense, that is the queen sacrifice, queen h2 check. After king into h2, black can now play rook into h6, grab the bishop with the check, king h1, and now rook into e5. So with this queen sacrifice, black is able to both win the queen and the bishop, and the resulting rook endgame after rook into f4, rook c6 is clearly favorable for black, because first of all he is simply a pawn up on the king side, and these double pawns on the c file is a real source of problem for white. So black has very good winning chances in this rook endgame. So let's get back to the main line. So it is quite possible that Naka saw this main line, calculated all the intricacies, all the tactical ideas, and concluded that black has a defense, and therefore he decided on the correct move, which is, I hope all the viewers guess the correct move here. It is rook a6. So bringing the only piece which is not in the attack right now, which is not participating in the attack against the black's king, rook a6. And the idea is quite simple. White just wants to win the f6 pawn with the a rook and bring the rook in the attack as well. And once the rook joins the attack against the black king, it is basically impossible to defend against white's strong attack. So black has to do something about it. Black has to stop the rook from joining, and he has two ways. He can play rook b6 here, which Magnus played in the game, or he can also play c6, trying to block the rook's path to the king side. But in fact, white can simply take the pawn on c6, as black cannot recapture on c6 because of queen g3 check, and after king h8 there is mate on g7. So after rook into c6, black can try rook b6, exchanging the rooks now, and after queen g4 check, knight g6, rook f6, winning the f6 pawn. And it is important to give queen g4 check because it also covers the d1 square. And after rook f6, white doesn't need to fear queen d1 check anymore. Here, if black goes for double rooks with queen into f6, rook into f6, rook into f6, then again the most logical move h4, threatening h5, winning the knight. Black can try e4, trying to push this pawn as far as possible, but white can simply curb all black's ideas with bishop e3, blocking the pawn. And now h5 is a strong threat, while bishop d4 is also in the air. Black's dark squares on the king side are extremely weak. So this is a winning position for white. And if in this position, instead of queen into f6, if black takes on c6, then after rook c6, queen a8 and rook c7, the rook on the 7th rank, the bishop on h6, and the queens still on the board, white has a beautiful attack going on. So in the game, Magnus decided to play rook b6, exchanging the active rook on a6, and after rook into b6, c into b6, and now the variation which we saw on the first move, queen g3 check, the most tempting variation, as I just said, now it works because of a very small difference, a very subtle difference, which is difficult to spot, difficult to calculate for most of the players, even in a classical time control game, even in a long game. But Nakamura found it in just 58 seconds. So let's see what is that difference. After queen g3 check, it is obvious that black has to defend with knight g6, and now white goes with h4 with the idea of h5, f5, just as we saw on the first move for the direct queen g3 check. This is the only defense black can hope to save the game. h5, f4, trying to distract the queen from the g file, and now h into g6. So this is the main difference. In the starting position, when we saw the variation starting with queen g3 check, white cannot take on g6 because after f into g3, g into f7, king h8, and now f into e8, queen into e8, and now white has rook f8 check. While if the black rook would still be on b8, rook f8 check would simply be in white's favor, as black can win the bishop on f8 in the end. But here, since the rook is absent on b8, white can play rook f8 check, queen into f8, and bishop into f8, simply wins a piece for white. So this was the whole point behind exchanging the rooks with rook a6 first, and then going for this tempting variation. So, yeah, and basically this is how the game ended. After f5, h5, f4, hg6, seeing that f into g3 simply loses a piece for black, Magnus settled for h into g6, but the dark square bishop on h6 is just too powerful, as the squares around the black king are extremely weak. White goes for queen g4, queen c8. Of course, Naka doesn't really want to exchange queens in this position, as maintaining the queen can give opportunities to white to mate the black king. Uh, Queen h4, and now Naka is simply threatening to mate with queen f6, queen g7. Black goes for queen c5 check, king h2, queen d6, preventing the threat of queen f6. And now Naka plays a nice move, bishop g5, rearranging his bishop from h6 to f6 when all sorts of mating threats are about to come. f5, creating an escape square for the king. And now he brings his last piece into the attack, that is rook f3, with the idea to play rook h3 and create mating threats. The game continued e4, rook h3, f3 check, bishop f4, queen d7, and now a forced mate with queen h8 check, king f7, rook h7 check, king e6, and queen e5 checkmate. A very nice finish to the brilliant idea found by Nakamura with rook a6. So you can see the difference, right? When we go for direct queen g3, which is the most tempting variation, especially in a shortened time control game, when seconds are running in a clock and we are just playing on seconds, it is very tempting to just settle for queen g3 check. But players like Nakamura, who calculate so fast, whose intuition is so very well developed, they don't really fall for such tempting variations. And he found rook a6. He found that subtle difference that by exchanging the rook on b8, white can exploit the back rank in the variation starting after queen g3. So I hope that you like this example, this brilliant calculations, this brilliant fast calculations by Nakamura. Well, we don't know whether he really calculated it, he really calculated all these intricacies in just 58 seconds, or it was just his intuition, his foresight, which led him make this decision with rook a6. Well, I hope you like this video. If you want to read a detailed article on this video, I'll give the link to the article in the description below. I regularly upload a lot of interesting content just like this game on my YouTube channel. So please do consider subscribing and pressing the bell icon so that you will be getting notified whenever I upload a new video, an interesting chess game, an instructive chess game on my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Take care. See you in the next instructive video on chess.